Year 1347. Simulation and Beginning. You are right in the middle of the Middle Ages, and to be honest, life is beyond terrible. There's no such thing as a toothbrush yet. Taking a bath is already considered a spiritual danger by the church, and the biggest social event is watching someone get executed in the middle of the town square. Just as you're thinking, it can't possibly get worse than this, a ship appears on the horizon. Approaching the port of Messina in Sicily, this ship isn't just bringing silk and exotic spices with it. It's also bringing the most dangerous and effective, the most ruthless serial killer history has ever seen, Yersinia pestis. This tiny but deadly bacterium lives in the digestive systems of fleas riding on rats, along the shaky trade routes you've drawn. The structure of events is very simple. The flea gets hungry, bites the rat dies. Then the flea looks around and realizes there's no fresh blood left. Hop, it jumps onto your leg. And right at that moment, the biggest factory reset in human history begins. Before you even understand what's happening, the inside of your body turns into a biological battlefield. Wanzian, the body's betrayal, and the Bubo. Miracle. Let's say you're living in that time, and one morning you wake up and notice a strange swelling in your groin or under your armpit. Congratulations, you now have a brand new Bubo. Those swellings first reach the size of an egg, then grow as large as an apple, and their color slowly starts to turn slightly black. That's already why they call it the Black Death. Your body quite literally starts rotting from the inside out. Your fever is so high that you might even think you're playing backgammon with dragons in your hallucinations. You're vomiting blood. Your breath smells so bad that even the people who come to bury you keep at least a 10-meter distance from you. Under your skin, black pitch black spots spread, and usually within 2 to 6 days you most likely see the game over sign. Living in that era and witnessing these events meant that your chance of survival was the same as winning the lottery. In other words, waiting to die actually became the most logical thing to do. 2. Medieval medicine and treatments that were a complete disaster. So what were the smartest, brightest people of that era, the doctors, doing? They were walking around wearing those famous beaked masks. They filled the beaks with nice-smelling plants because they believed the disease spread through bad smells. But what was killing you wasn't a bad smell. It was that tiny flea on your leg. And the treatments they used were an absolute catastrophe. Frog therapy, rubbing the belly of a live frog onto the swollen areas. I feel very sorry for the frog, but this method does absolutely nothing. You're just left holding a now-dead frog and a swelling that's ready to burst at any moment. Feces mixture, mixing your own feces with flour and smearing it onto your open wound. A wonderful way to get infected and die earlier, faster, and in a far more disgusting manner. The kind of thing that could go down in history as a scientific method of suicide. Diamond dust. If you're very rich, the doctor makes you drink crushed diamond powder. While your organs are shredded as if you've swallowed shards of glass, at least you get to experience a flashy and expensive death. They could write "died sparkling on the inside" on your coffin. 3. Death delivered by Catapult and the First Biological War. The plague did not spread randomly. Sometimes people helped it in order to kill one another. In 1346, while the Mongols were besieging the city of Kaffa in Crimea, their army began to collapse because of the plague. Janibeg Khan, with a brilliant idea, loaded plague-infected corpses onto enormous catapults and hurled them right into the middle of the city. Imagine darkened, germ-spewing human bodies flying through the air. Genoese merchants fled this city to save their lives, boarded their ships, and spread the plague across all of Europe almost like express delivery. When humanity could not cope with a disease, it chose to use it as a weapon. This was the first biological war in history up to that point. A rat could end your life, but a human throwing a plague-ridden corpse at you to kill you, that was proof that human nature hasn't really changed much from then until now. 4. Social madness and scapegoats. When people couldn't comprehend the cause of death, their minds slowly began to burn. Some joined flagellant groups who roamed the streets whipping their backs until they bled. They believed God would forgive them for what they were doing, but in reality all they accomplished was spreading the plague to every town they visited through their open wounds. A complete logistical disaster. Even worse was the stage of trying to find someone to blame. The arrows immediately turned toward the Jews. Rumors like they're poisoning the wells spread like a forest fire in a windy storm. In 1349 in Strasbourg, thousands of innocent people were executed solely because of this baseless fear. When humanity couldn't cope with an invisible enemy, it chose to label everyone it encountered as an enemy and destroy them. While the plague was destroying bodies, ignorance had already rotted consciences. 5. The sound of silence and the curse of the survivor. As the plague slowly began to fade, what remained behind was the deepest and most terrifying silence in history. Nearly half of Europe's population, around 25 million people, had vanished. Wolves now roamed the streets, and fields left abandoned and neglected were quickly turning back into forests. Even in churches, there wasn't a single person left to ring the bells. For those who managed to survive, the world was no longer the place they once knew. In a world where your neighbors, everyone in your family, and all the people you loved were dead, surviving was not a blessing. It was often a heavy punishment. But strangely enough, this destruction turned into the birth pains of the modern world. Labor shortages collapsed feudalism, and the value of the surviving peasants increased. In short, what pressed Europe's reset button was nothing more than a disgusting tiny flea. If you're alive today, it's not luck. It's the inheritance of ancestors who refused to die despite thousands of disasters. You are not special. You are a surviving probability. Thank you for watching Half Evolution. Don't forget to subscribe.